Alright guys, try out the new super stable video recording system here. It's on my new OnePlus 7 Pro. So, this little cable right here, that attaches to the clutch. When you pull back on the clutch, this cable goes down to a mechanism beneath the master cylinder there, and that'll cause the master cylinder to hold pressure if you let off the brake when you come into a stop sign on a hill. Clutch and brake both in. It will actually hold you on a hill when you are braking and having to let go like at a stop sign or stop light up a hill, or even off-roading. It's pretty useful. It's a mechanical system and it still works after over 360,000 miles. So now I had to loosen up the lock nut here, and then there's the 12 mil there. This is a 10 mil. So I'm trying to work this out from around that there. Not sure how well that's all going to work. This is already free. I was trying to remove this bolt here from this bracket so that it would pull up this. I'll have to remove the starter as well, probably before I pull all this thing out. More 14 mils. This one's sadly a bit rounded out because somebody didn't have the right tool and they messed it up. So hopefully I can hammer a socket on there and get that out. And then pulled off the hood, and a good trick when you're doing that is to take a Sharpie and trace around the edges here. And that will allow you to line up the hood perfectly every time when it was already fitting pretty well. So, oh boy, yeah. I wanted to take out the roll pins from the CV axles, and to do that, I bought a little cheap punch kit here from Harbor Freight. Don't mind the snacks; those are just whatever. Not that punch; it's a chisel. But I use some punches kind of like this. A 3/16 is usually the right size to punch out those little roll pins right down in there, and came out effortlessly in the front. Also, probably because they've been replaced more often and because they're usually soaked in oil. So this axle shaft is able to back off. Well, can't move right now with holding the camera, but it can slide off almost all the way off the stub there. Once I remove all the engine mounts and I'm able to float it around, I should be able to get off one axle and then get off the other one by moving it left and right and all that. So, yeah. When I lowered it down from being on the roll-up ramps here, put it on jack stands, turns out there was more oil in the oil pan, and it puked all over the floor overnight, and I didn't notice that. So my exhaust can just sit on the floor because I have a big flex joint in there, because the exhaust studs kept getting pulled out when I would accelerate really hard. Probably due to those bad engine mounts letting the engine rock so much. So, yeah, let's keep her moving. Alright, so got the starter loosened up into here. So this bolt right here passes on through into this for the whole thing. This lower one though is more of a stud, and then it just came right out. Oh, that looks like the four-wheel drive lock-in mechanism. Very neat. Okay, I never really knew what that was, how that worked. Now I know. And then looks like there's a 14 mil here and a 12 mil right here. I think they're actually different sizes. And then the entire clutch bracket thing will come off. I can probably zip tie it up to the firewall so I can get the engine out here. Probably want to clean up some of this rust here, put some light oil on there to keep it from rusting, or there's some good paint. Not sure if there's anything else to go on about. Yeah, I got this bolt out here, which held on the can't remember actually, but an upper bracket. That's right here. That one, the rounded nut came off pretty easily. All I did was just put an impact on the other side, because obviously there's gobs of room in this engine bay. I'm thinking actually about relocating my washer reservoir, because I removed it to put in the snorkel. That would be right there inside the fender. I'm going to actually probably see if I can hang it in here. The wiring will actually come right in here, plug in. In fact, that might be it right there. And then I can actually have washer sprayers again and not have to have a water bottle that I throw out the window to squirt water on the window when there's salt or mud. So that'll be a nice thing. Alright, so with this vacuum hose, so it goes up to there, and then the other vacuum, well, it doesn't actually matter where they go because I'm putting it in a different transmission. Alright, so ended up almost stripping out that 12 mil down there. I just gave up on removing the whole bracket, so I just got the clutch cable out of there. Here's the hill holder brake system. That on the end there, come on, focus. That is an 8mm nut, and then the other bigger one's a 14 mil. You just have to back both of those out to get them out of this little nut, as it has a stamped end that doesn't allow it to all be pulled out. So, got the vacuum lines off for that thing. Some wiring harnesses, but I think those are attached to the transmission. There's a big cable that runs back from that thing. Well, this is where you start attaching the engine hoist and pulling and seeing what's still attached. Alright, well, I kind of skipped a few steps, but it's out. Yeah, I got the axles out as I was expecting by twisting the engine 2 different ways while I was popping one side out then the other. And they can rest on those little control arm things. The drive shaft just slips out the back. It doesn't have like a bolting flange, so that's nice. And then I forgot there's transmission fluid in there. You take that out, it starts pouring out. So, yeah, that's getting dealt with. Wow, a lot of grease, a lot of oil and grit in here. Yep, just snuck these around the valve covers on the passenger side of the engine. Just kind of toss the... There's the... Oh, it's starter, right? Yeah, oh, there's the starter. Couldn't see it for a second. There it is up there. I just tossed it up there. That worked really well. Forgot to disconnect the speedometer cable, but that's all done. That was really quick. It's actually a little plastic plug. So that came out. Let's see here. Yeah, it was just a little 12 mil flange back there, or 12 mil bolt that took off the shifter linkage. 2 14s on that plate right there. Those were really easy. There's also that bracket on the floor, soaked in oil. That was for the exhaust. I didn't actually have a bolt in it before, but maybe I should have. So, yeah, probably gonna put some window weld in the body mounts, or engine mounts, I'm sorry, and then solder them up a little bit, and then slap in that new trans that's over there behind the fan. Alright, 21 millimeter on the impact here. Oh, there we go. It's dribbling over there. Let's see here. See if there's anything left in here, right? Yeah, not much. Yeah, boy. A few little chunks, but not all that much. Whatever. Transmission's not going in my vehicle. Alright. Transmission is separated. Here comes the oil pan. Come on, get past the engine mount there. That's so easy to do with one hand here. Let's see what we can do here. There we go. Oh yeah, there she be. A bit chunky. Actually, this isn't so bad. The Toyota actually had a lot more crap in there. Weird, that's what happens when a rod bearing fails on you across the country. Alright, now the valve covers. Oh, not bad. Not that dirty at all. Cams look decent. Minimal scoring that I can see. Not bad. There might have been a few chunks of either metal or plastic in the oil pan, but we're just going to ignore those because it ran fine. Yeah, we're going to do that. Alright, so it looks like I'll probably have to pull out the cam itself, as these are the valves. 1, 2, 3, 4 valves total. Just 2 valves per head, not a super modern system. But I'm going to have to pull out the valves, the valve seals, so either I, one, have to pull out the entire head, which would probably still have me doing basically this, or I just have to pull out the cam and then get the cam timing right again, which is a light rebuild at this point. So, yeah, no fun.